question is what is God doing? When we think about the world today, it's a crazy place. Your spiritual life, your own life, your family life. Welcome to a brand new part of our life, the Daily 320. Now, what is the Daily 320? I went through a process of, if I were to sit down with my family, my kids, my wife, my closest friends, what would be the things that I would tell them to help make it through that day? Looking at the conditions of that day. Today, it's Monday, it's March 16th, 2020. The conditions around us are crazy. That you can turn on the news, you can turn on the radio, you can go online, and you talk about the cancel culture. We are canceling everything. It's all around us. There's craziness. So what would I want to sit down and tell my family? What would I want to tell you? What would I think that God would tell me in this process? There's a Bible scripture that I want you to open to in Isaiah, and as you do, everybody take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. It shows it scripturally that does help. And open up to Isaiah 41:10. And here's what it says. Fear not. Everybody say that. Fear not. For I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Let's break it down. First of all, this is God speaking through the prophet Isaiah. So God is looking at the conditions of the earth being kind of in upheaval, kind of being in craziness, kind of being a wackadoodle world. And he's speaking to one of his men of God. And in the voice he's saying and using, he's talking as a tender, loving father of saying, hey, I want to pull you aside and I want to tell you the truth. I want you to take a couple of deep breaths, and I want you to calm down, and I don't want you to overreact, and I don't want you to underreact, but I want to tell you the truth as your dad. So remember that as we look at these words, it's coming from the Heavenly Father, your dad, speaking to us. The first thing he says is, fear not. And what he's saying is, as your dad, as the creator of the universe, as the one that's in charge of everything, fear not, and understand that if you trust in me, that I have the ordering and I have the power to overrule everything that you might experience emotionally or physically on earth when allowed. Now, God will not intervene on our personal behalf or our corporate behalf if we don't ask Him to intervene. But when we individually ask Him to intervene or corporately ask Him to intervene, He will intervene, and He won't intervene as you and I do as a human, but He'll intervene as an overruling, all-powerful God. So He says, hey, I don't want you to fear today. I don't want you to freak out today, because I am an overarching, ruling God that is a king that is speaking to you as your dad today. Matter of fact, fear not, because I'm with you. He said, I want you to know that as your dad, with everything going on today, with everything, with all the news and all the media and all the things that are closing and the things that are putting off and all that, just calm down, because I am with you. And it's not that you have somebody that's just your friend or your dog. I'm going to be introducing my dogs to you in the coming weeks. But it's not just somebody, it's you are with me, the God, the creator of the universe. So but fear not, don't freak out, because I have chosen to be with you on this day. So right there, let's stop for just a minute and talk about the Daily 320 of living an E320 life. It starts when we surrender to God. Salvation isn't just coming to God and saying a prayer of, hey, forgive me my sins, let's go on. And then living how you want to. Salvation happens with surrender. Surrender comes when you take your success, when you take your scares, when you take everything about your life and you surrender to God and say, God, here it is to serve you. Here's all my wealth. Here's all my being poor. Here's all my joy. Here's all my concern. Here's everything I have, and I have it to surrender it to you. And when you do that, he says there's no reason to fear because I am with you. So fear not, I am with you. Be not dismayed. I love this. So it's an instruction. It's telling you how to build the Lego set, how to play the soccer game, it's a dad talking to his child saying, this is how you see success. Be not. Here's the instructions. Be not. And then look at this word, dismayed. The word dismayed there means, I don't want you to be confused of the truth. I'm giving you instructions today to take a breath, to lower the anxiety level, lower the craziness level. I know that everything is wackadoodle outside this little picture, but I want you to calm it down, and I don't want you to be confused of the truth. Because when you're surrendered to me and I am your Father, I'm an overarching, overruling Father that has everything by the hand. So don't lose focus of the truth. And then he goes on and says, because I will strengthen you. Again, it's a personal thing, and he said, I'm not going to strengthen you by the job I give you or by the house I give you. All that might go up in smoke. He says, I will strengthen you. The God of gods, the Lord of lords, the maker of the universe, the one that one minute it was dark and the next minute was light. I spoke the light into existence and can change the scenario just like that. He says, I am with you. I will strengthen you. So it's not this fake little thing, but it is a God that literally can create something out of nothing. Take a step back and think about where we were 3 weeks ago. People say that we've overreacted, that we've underreacted, that we've not reacted, that we've all everything, everybody has an opinion. The truth is even 2-3 weeks ago, we wouldn't know that we'd be here today, but God did. And in that, so God comes along and says, I will strengthen you. I will give you the power to make it through the day. It's literally a word picture here. And it says I, so talking about personal God, and a word picture of saying everyone else, this is a true word picture. Think about today. Everyone else will be freaking out, but you sit in peace due to the authority in which covers you. Think about that. I will strengthen you. He says everybody around you can be freaking out. Everybody around you can be going nuts. And he says you live in a fallen world, so there's going to be some bad stuff that happens. But in that you can sit in peace because you're sitting with me. And it's a word picture of everybody else going a little bit cray-cray and you sitting in peace, being the light of the world, affecting the world by the way that you sit under the authority of God. The perfect word picture of this is an umbrella in the middle of a rainstorm and there's hell and you're sitting outside and everybody's getting wet and it's crazy, and then all of a sudden you just hit the button, your umbrella comes up and you stay dry. And so all of a sudden you're enjoying listening to the rain. That while everybody else is panicking and while everybody else is getting wet and it's ruining their clothes and it's ruining the moment, because of what you're covered by, you can sit in peace and see something that nobody else can see. He says, I'm going to strengthen you today, and that when you choose to hit that button of allowing me to be your God, there's nothing to fear. There's nothing to freak out about, because I have ordered the days. And in ordering the days, I know that some of the days on a fallen world are going to get a little bit cray-cray. And that people are going to go around you and they're going to be freaking out. CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, whatever you watch. Everybody, so just hit the button on the umbrella and say, I'm going to be covered by the authority of God. What's going to happen to my business? I'm going to be covered by the authority of God. What's going to happen to my finances? I'm going to be covered by the authority of God. What's going to happen to my stock? I'm going to be covered by the authority of God. And so that when you look at the Bible, the greatest time to prosper, all it means is to move forward and see great success, nothing else. The greatest moment to prosper is when everybody else is in a moment of panic. Because you can sit down and you can lower the temperature level and you can lower the panic mode and you can say, it's okay because I hit the button. My umbrella over me is the authority of God. Will it affect everything around me? Will I possibly get a little bit of wetness on me? Sure. But I'm sitting under the authority of God, so fear not. Because I am within you. I am with you. I will strengthen you, and just surrender to me. Now, listen to this next part. We're about to wrap up. Yes. Now, this is God speaking into chaos through his man of God. And he says, yes. And it's an exclamation point. He doesn't say maybe. He doesn't say if all the presidential cabinet makes the right decision. Doesn't say if the Democrats get more control or the Republicans. He says, yes, if you surrender to me, if you get under my umbrella, if you allow me to come alongside of you, yes, I, personal God, the creator of the universe, Dad, your surrender under the umbrella, listen to this, I will help you. So how do you survive in the middle of panic? How do you see prosperity and peace in the middle of panic? You understand that God will help you. Now, where does the help begin with? It helps with just being alone with him. There's times where we need to be around our family. There's times we need to be around our friends. There's times where you just need the intimacy of God. And I would go as far to suggest this, that if you are scared of the intimacy of God and being alone with God by an individual, I would check your heart on a point of surrender. Because if your strength from God is coming from others, you're missing out on the greatest point of God. And he says, yes, exclamation point, not maybe, but I will help you. I will help you find a solution. It says in Ephesians 5:15 and 16, make the most of today, make the most of the day, make the most of the opportunity in front of you, for the days we live in are evil. I would say that a pandemic is evil. That's a little bit crazy. But he says, how do we make the most of this opportunity? Not how do we take advantage of it for financial reason or anything else. It's how do we make the most of this opportunity? Maybe this is the time where your family learns how to start having family time together again. Maybe it's the time that you say, hey, I need to change my heart towards my neighbor, my friend, my this, my that. But how will he strengthen you today? How will you allow him to help you today as you surrender? And I would say that, again, kind of the conditions, everybody's saying stay in. I would say learn from the truth of that. And one of the great things that you can do is that you can just get alone with God. Rob and I have been married for 29 years, and there's still time when we look at each other and go, I need some time for just me and God. And in that's where God strengthens you, and he comes along. And then last, he says, I will help you. And so I will come alongside of you, and I will uphold you. He says, when you get under the umbrella, I will uphold you. And you might feel like you're going to fall, and you might not know how you're going to keep the company going and how you're going to get people back into the stores and all these different things, but I will uphold you. And he says, and let me share how I'm going to uphold you. He says, I will uphold you with my righteousness, the right standing of God, the right way of God. I will uphold you with my righteousness, listen to this, of my right hand, the authority of God. So how do you make it through the panic? How do you make it through the craziness? What is the daily 320? It's to surrender to a loving Father that wants to interact with you today. And it's to allow him to strengthen you, to give you perspective that there's no reason to freak out because God is still God. And that we will make it through these crazy days. And that not only will he help you, he will uphold you by his right hand, the hand of authority, that he can intervene in your life just like that. So let me pray with you today. Father, I pray for every one of my friends. I pray for my family. I pray for myself that we will get under the umbrella of God today. That we will hit the button and we will open the umbrella, and instead of all the conditions of the world affecting us and affecting our heart rate and our blood pressure rate and all these things, that you'll bring healing to us today. That you'll bring hope to us today. Father, that you'll teach us how to be intimate with you today. That we will have the nerve to walk away from our craziness of friends and family and just to get alone with you and just to see what you're saying to us as your children. We give you all the glory, we give you all the honor, and we ask you to come and move today so that we can experience a God that can do anything, far more than we could ever imagine, guess, or request in our wildest dreams. God bless you. I love you. I appreciate you. We are proud of you, and we can't wait till tomorrow to see what God's going to do in your E320 life.